Hey, hi there. Today we're going to be looking at dividing fractions, okay? This is one of these lessons where I'm going to just show you the steps to do fractions. Again, the actual teaching that I might do on how to show you why this works, and it takes far too long for a video like today. And again, the summer work here is just to review and get you ready for high school so that these basic skills and concepts you can do without a lot of problems. So hopefully this is going to work for you to get you through today and the rest of your lessons. The why, well, that'll be another time. Okay, so basically, look here, it says to divide a fraction, multiply by its multiplicative inverse. Wow, multiplicative inverse, that's a phrase used all the time. Not really. You probably talk more about the reciprocal, which means if I have a number like 1 over 4, the reciprocal is going to be 4 over 1, right? The phrase you probably heard a lot when you were in school, particularly maybe elementary school, is when dividing fractions, don't ask why, flip the second and multiply, which is great, but you really should ask why, because that's an important part of understanding how math works. For today, we are going to be a little old school and just pretend like we don't know why and we don't care why, because we want you to just be able to do it, but that's not actually true. But here we go. So here we have our first example. A couple things here. If you have a mixed number, still rewrite that mixed number before you do your process here. So for 3 1/3, again, we're going to do 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So we have 10 over 3. And then for the second one, we're going to take that and turn it into the what? Into the reciprocal. So instead of 2 over 9, this becomes 9 over 2. So a couple steps just to get to that point there, right? We're going to rewrite that. We're going to flip that. Now at this point, I can look to see, can I reduce in the diagonals? Sure. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Can I reduce on these diagonals? Sure. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 10 is 5. I multiply straight across. 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 1 is 1. So I have 15 over 1, or simply 15 as a solution there, right? So I was just working this way because there was space over there. Let's do some samples of these ones to make sure you kind of get the flow, and then we'll look at your homework together. Alright, so dividing fractions, first of all. We're going to take the fraction, we're going to rewrite that as 2/3 times the reciprocal of 1/4, which is 4 over 1. Now that I've flipped that, now I can look and see if I can reduce. Don't reduce before you do the flipping, okay? So it's just not going to be pretty if you do, right? So don't think, oh, 2 and 4 reduce. Nope, flip them and then reduce them. I can only reduce in the diagonals of a multiplication. Nothing there in common, nothing there in common, so straight across. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3, and I don't want to leave it like that. I do 3 goes into 8 how many times? 3 times 2 is 6, and then 8 minus 6 is going to give me my numerator, which is 2, and the denominator stays the same, which is 3. Okay, do another one right over here. Here we have a negative and positive number. Okay, so let's rewrite this as negative 1/2 times the reciprocal, which becomes what? 5 over 1. Nothing to reduce in the diagonals except the ones if I wanted to, but they're not really that important. A negative times a positive is going to give me a negative solution. 1 times 5 is 5, and then 2 times 1 is 2. Again, going to have to simplify this, so 2 goes into 5 how many times? Well, 2 times 2 is 4, so it goes in there 2 times, again, still a negative 2. And how many are left over? 5 minus 4 is 1 over 2, so I have negative 2 and a half as a way of simplifying that down. So this is the part where, again, when you're working with fractions, it's like there's so many little steps, right? We had to turn the division into multiplication. We had to do the reciprocal there, right? We had to remember in this case here that there's a negative number in front, so it's a negative integer. Then we had to reduce it here and hopefully reduce that right. So that's just a matter of like 4 things to get to one solution. This is why fractions can be a little frustrating for kids sometimes, because there's little places where you might make a mistake. Even though you're doing a lot of good things along the way, there might be one little computational or procedural error. That's okay. Just work on that and become better at it, okay? Just take some time. For this one here, let's first of all rewrite this as 10 over 1, because I'm going to have to flip that to multiply, which means it becomes 1 over 10. Now let's rewrite and multiply. This becomes 1 over 10, and now I look to see, can I reduce the diagonals? Sure. 5 and 5. 5 goes in there 1 time, 5 goes in there 2 times. And I'm going to multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is what? That's right, it's 1. And 8 times 2 is what? It's 16. And we're all set right there. Okay, number 6. Let's rewrite this one here. This is 2 over 1. And I have to rewrite this one as well. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 1 is 22. So I have 22 over 3. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, 1 over 2. Now I can reduce on the diagonal. 2 goes into here 1 time. 2 goes into here 11 times. I'm going to multiply straight across. 11 times 1 is 11. 3 times 1 is 3. Now I have to reduce and simplify this. 3 goes into 11 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. So now I think 11 minus 9 gives me 2 left over. That becomes my numerator, 2, and the denominator is always the same. So 3 2/3 right there. Okay, so those are some basic examples there. It just continues. There's really nothing more to it than that. Hopefully that gets you started with your homework and gives you enough samples for what it should look like. That's really about it. So pause the video, work on your homework, which should be the odd ones, and that homework will be your last one for this unit. Okay, pause it, and I'll see you back in just a second. Alright, welcome back. Let's take a look at the odd problems for dividing fractions and mixed numbers. Alright, so here we go. We're going to first of all rewrite this as 1/6 times the reciprocal, which is 5 over 1. Multiply straight across. 1 times 5 is 5. 6 times 1 is 6. And nothing to reduce there, so we leave it and we move on. Next one, let's rewrite it. We have 6 over 7 times reciprocal, which is 7 over 1. This is one where I notice I can reduce on the diagonal right away. 7 goes in there 1 time, 7 goes in there 1 time. So I end up with multiplying 6. Multiplying here I have 1, and that reduces down to simply 6. For number 5, this is actually going to be what? 8 over 1. So let's rewrite that now. It's 8 over 1 times the reciprocal of 1/3, which is 3 over 1. And now I'm going to multiply straight across. 8 times 3 is 24. And 1 times 1 is 1, so I leave it as 24. Number 7, we have 7 over 1. So let's rewrite this as 7 over 1 times the reciprocal of 3/7, which is 7 over 3. Remember, I cannot reduce on the horizontal, just the diagonals or the vertical. So 7 times 7 is 49. 3 times 1 is 3. So I need to ask myself how many 3's are in 49. Okay, 3 goes into 4 1 time, subtract. 3 goes into 19 6 times, which is 18. We have 1 remainder. So if I'm going to write that now as a mixed number, I have 16, and then there's my numerator, 1, and my denominator, 3. So look at those parts there. When you do division, this is 49 divided by 3. I have 16 and 1/3. Is how that works out there. Okay, so that's how I get the 16 and 1/3. Number 9, rewrite this one. This is 3 times 8 is 24, plus 1 is 25 over 3, stays the same. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. 5 over 1 becomes 1 over 5. I can reduce here. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 5. Multiply straight across. 5 times 1 is 5. 3 times 1 is 3, and then I don't want to leave it as improper. 3 goes into 5 1 time, and the remainder there would be a 2, so 1 2/3. Number 11, alright, nothing to change up here, so let's flip it and see if we can reduce it. We have 12/5 times 10/3. I sure can. Right here, 3 goes into 12 how many times? 4. There's 1 3 there. 4 3's there. How many 5's are in each of these? 1 5 there, 2 5's there. Straight across multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 1 is 1, so I leave it as 8. Number 16, we have 3 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 34 over 5. And this is actually 17 over 1, so I multiply by the reciprocal, 1 over 17. Of course, the reason they picked that number was why? Well, 17 times 2 is 34. So there's 1 17 there, 2 17's there. So now I can have a simple multiplication 2 times 1 is 2, 5 times 1 is 5, 2/5 for my solution. Number 15, we have 3/4, so that stays 3/4. Here I'd have to go 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11, so I have 11 over 2, but I want to multiply by the reciprocal, so multiply by 2 over 11. I can reduce the 2 and the 4. There's 1 2 inside of there, 2 2's inside there, 3's and 11's, nothing to do with those, so multiply. 3 times 1 is 3, 2 times 11 is 22, and we leave it like that. 17, 3/8 is going to stay the same. I have to play with this one first. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25 over 4. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is 4 25ths. And I have a 4 and an 8 in common. There's 1 4 in there, 2 4's in there. Nothing with the 3's and 25's. So let's multiply across. We have 3 over 2 times 5 is 50. And that's it for that one. A couple more. I'll wrap this unit up. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 4 is 31 over 9. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7 over 3, but I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, 3/7. Alright, so 3 goes in there 1 time, 3 goes in there 3 times. Does 7 go into 31? Not that I know of. So we have 31 over 21 as my solution when I multiply it across, and that's just what it is. Oh, I should say, sorry, that becomes 21 goes in there 1 time, with 10 left over, 1 and 10 21st. Almost didn't simplify all the way, huh? Last one, 4 times 3 is 16, plus 3 is 19 over 4. And 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5 over 2. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, so 2/5. I can reduce 1 and 2. This becomes 38 over 10. 10 goes into there 3 times with 8 left over and 10. 8 and 10, is that right? Yeah, 8 and 10, and I can reduce that a little bit more to become 2 goes in there 4 times, 2 goes in there 5 times, so 3 and 4/5. Alright, that's it for this lesson. That's it for this unit, so good luck taking your little unit test. Hopefully you do well, and that's it. We'll see you back for Unit C.